Hi, Kevin. Um, I was watching your game, and it was actually quite nice, and I liked it. And the first game that you played was a French defense. I just have a bunch of questions for you, and some stuff that I think you should know if you're going to play the French or the two knights French against the French defense. Bishop d3. Okay, everything seems natural, right? Natural. And a few things that I want you to know is if your opponent castles here, that you would have the sacrifice on h7, and after king takes h7, you have knight g5 check. Black has two options here. If he plays king g8, this leads to a checkmate by force after queen h5, rook e8, and find the checkmate for white, the checkmate pattern that you should remember. Okay, so the move is queen takes f7 check first. Everything leads to a forceful mate after king h8. Queen goes back to h5, check. King goes to g8, queen h7 check. Black goes to f8, queen h8 check, king e7, and finally the checkmate after queen takes g7 check. Heading back to bishop takes h7, king takes h7, followed by the move knight g5 check. If black plays king g6 instead, and there's a forceful variation that I might have shown you before, which is queen g4, and the best move for black to defend is f5, or else knight takes e6 is coming, followed by queen takes g7 checkmate. f5, queen g3, black takes on e5, knight takes e6 check, and after knight g4, black has this nice tactic comeback. But unfortunately, the exchanges will lead for white being up a piece. Knight takes d8, bishop takes f2 check, queen takes f2, knight takes f2, and here, even the computer had a tough time finding the right move for white. It took them about 3 minutes before finding the right solution, although they're like a calculator. And the move here for white is to just simply take on c6 and not capture on f2. After knight takes c6, obviously black has to capture the rook on h1, or else he's going to be way behind in material if he takes on c6. So after knight takes h1, knight e5 check is the good move, and after king h5, white to move, the very nice maneuver to seal the deal, and the knight on h1's destiny is to perform this bishop e3 maneuver, and after g5, put the bishop there, and the next thing you should do is to get your king to g1. Okay? Alright, so heading back to bishop d3. After bishop d3, opponent played a very weird move, which is h6. Okay, and you played a really good move. A good continuation is just to castle, and after black castles on the king side, queen d2, very nice move, threatening to sacrifice the bishop on h6 since he created a weakness there. Right? Okay, so rook e8 was played by your opponent. He was getting ready to protect the h6 pawn with bishop f8, although that just leads to a position where white is better. So after rook e8, you played bishop takes h6. Although bishop takes h6 is good, I think the computer favored black after the move just taking on e5, claiming that white doesn't really have anything and black is going to be able to control and get the center now after just maybe taking on an d3 or f3 followed by e5. It's not going to be pleasant for us. So instead, my advice for next time, if the position was like this, is to simply play rook e1 first. And for instance, our opponent is not too careful here. He plays a very bad move a6. Then the move bishop takes h6 is very deadly, which leaves black without a lot of resistance here. For instance, if knight f8 is played, I'm guessing that knight g5 is possible here, and bishop h7 check is coming. Okay, so anyways, very good job, very nice finish. Your opponent didn't find the right defense, therefore you punished him and you mated him on h7. But one more thing that I want to insert before anything else, I want you to know exactly how you are supposed to play against the knight's c5 move. Okay. From this position. If your opponent plays the move knight takes c5 instead, what are you supposed to do? Okay, so your bishop is developed on d3. Even if he takes earlier with knight takes c5, you should still play bishop d3, and tempting black to capture on d3. Why? Why is it not so bad for white to lose his light squared bishop? Well, after castles, for instance, black captures on d3. The problem with black's position here is white could simply recapture with the c pawn, and the next step for him is to simply maneuver the knight to e2 and control the c file, occupy the d4 square for the knight, and possibly, for instance, castles, knight e2, bishop d7, and white can play the move knight d4. Or maybe rook c1 is better first, preventing bishop c5, rook c8, and then knight d4. For instance, maybe our opponent would play something like queen b6, and then after queen b6, let's see, this is not looking too well. Okay, let's see what could possibly happen if our opponent takes d3, castles, knight e2, bishop d7. Okay, so computer is suggesting that you should just play queen d2 here first and prepare your pieces. For instance, if h6 is played, just go occupy the c file, and after rook a c1, let's say opponent plays queen b6. Our plan is we can even play the move bishop e3 here. Queen c7, that's pretty bad position for him. a3, and then after rook ac8. Our main goal is to occupy the d4 square with our pieces. Looks like it will take some preparation before we can actually do it. Now computer recommends knight c3.